Hey everyone, welcome back to Lyrical Resonance, where we believe that where words fail, music speaks. I'm really thrilled today to be getting into a song by Laura McElroy. If you don't know who she is the vocalist for the band Comrades, signed to Face Down Records. Earlier this year, she put out a solo album that is, quite frankly, one of my absolute favorite albums of 2021. It is so good, and far different from anything I typically listen to. It's a very much a folk album. This song is called Fig Tree, and we'll get into what that means in a little bit. But I'm excited because her album is just fantastic. Anyway, here we go. If this is your first time watching, thank you so much for checking out the channel. I really appreciate you taking the time. If you like what you see by the end of this video, I'd ask you very simply to like the video, leave a couple comments, even if it's just to say hi. And if you really enjoyed it, I'd ask you to subscribe to the channel just to stay up to date with what we're doing and see some of the other videos, because where words fail, music does speak. And we're going to continue listening to what it has to say. So let's do that now with Laura McElroy and her song Fig Tree. I'm going to pause here. I don't know how often I'll pause in this song just because it's one I don't like to interrupt. It's really good. But if you haven't picked up already, this story is based on, this song is based on the story in Mark chapter 11 where Jesus curses the fig tree. It's such an interesting moment in the life of Jesus because it just seems so random. But I really like how Laura takes the story and frames it into our own lives, and she's going to ask a question that is so pertinent and so important that I really think it's important for us to kind of engage with it too, because it's kind of a challenging question for us to ask ourselves. So I'm going to back up just a hair, and we'll keep moving forward. I love that song so much. And I remember when I the first time I heard it, and this is not like a fresh reaction or like a first time reaction or anything like that. This is, like I said, one of my favorite albums to come out this year, and this song is probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite song off of the album. And because for me it's such a convicting song. So you have this story of Jesus cursing this fig tree, and I want to actually read it because it's a fascinating story. So it's in Mark chapter 11, and it takes place as Jesus right before Jesus clears the temple. Now, something with Mark when he wrote is like his audience, if I remember correctly, was primarily like Romans. So he was like, I want to show Jesus as a man of action. So with Mark, as you read, he's very quick with what goes on in Jesus' life. Stuff happens very fast. And so let's read. This is Mark chapter 11, verses 12 through 14. I'm actually just going to read through verse 25, actually. So here we go. It says, the next day, as they were leaving Bethany, Jesus was hungry. Seeing in the distance a fig tree in leaf, he went to find out if it had any fruit. So a fig tree in leaf means it was blooming, means there should have been fruit on it. But it was kind of odd for it to be blooming because it shouldn't have been in season. Anyway, so he sees this tree in leaf. When he reached it, he found nothing but leaves because it was not the season for figs. But the fact that it was in leaf was kind of odd. The fact that it was blooming but didn't have any leaves, even though... Anyway, so he goes to check it out. There's nothing but leaves. Verse 14, then he said to the tree, may no one ever eat fruit from you again. And his disciples heard him say it. On reaching Jerusalem, Jesus entered the temple area and began driving out those who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves, and would not allow anyone to carry merchandise through the temple courts. And as he taught them, he said, is it not written, my house will be called a house of prayer for all nations, but you have made it a den of robbers? The chief priests and the teachers of the law heard this and began looking for a way to kill him, for they feared him, because the whole crowd was amazed at his teaching. When evening came, they went out of the city. In the morning, as they went along, they saw the fig tree withered from the roots. Peter remembered and said to Jesus, Rabbi, look, the fig tree you cursed has withered. Have faith in God, Jesus answered. I tell you the truth, if anyone says to this mountain, go throw yourself into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says will happen, it will be done for him. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. And when you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, forgive him, so that your Father in heaven may forgive your sins. So that's the whole story, right, in context. Jesus sees this fig tree, and it's blooming, so he goes to check to see if there's any fruit, and there isn't any, which was out of place, right? If for a tree to be blooming, it should show fruit, right? But this fruit tree didn't, and so he curses it. He says, may you never bear fruit again. Now, at first glance, this seems kind of like petty, right? Where it's like, okay, Jesus, like, I get you're hungry, but really, you're going after a tree because it didn't have fruit on it? That just seems... why? But remember, the tree was created to bear fruit. That was the whole purpose for its creation, was to bear fruit, was to provide food. And yes, it's true that it wasn't the season for figs, but the tree was showing it should have had fruit. And so Jesus curses it. And I love the way Laura takes that story and kind of makes it something convicting for us, because she asked, God, if we meet in the dust of the street, will you fail to wither me? Like, would you fail to wither me? And that's such an odd question to ask, but I think I can explain it. Just give me 1 second here. I'm pulling something up that I wanted to look up. Okay, so she paints this picture of this tree, right, following Mark 11, and her words are, out amidst the flowers stood a shapely, sturdy tree. Beautiful, it beckons sweetly the approach of your weary feet. kindly you inquired if it offered up a meal to eat. No, it said, I would rather be dead than do what you ask of me. With a word you turned a pang of grief in your heart. Its lovely form housed barren arms. Alas, lifeless was your art. So God, if we meet in the dust of the street, will you fail to wither me? When I first heard this, I was moved. I wouldn't quite say to tears, but man, I was real close, because I'm like, holy cow, this is really powerful. Thinking about this in terms of me, right? When we look at it in context of what happened, so they go into Jerusalem, as they're on their way, and they see this tree that should have fruit but doesn't. And Jesus uses it as like a teaching opportunity for his disciples, because immediately following they go into the temple and Jesus drives out the money changers and chastises them and basically shows the hypocrisy of them, like calls them out for their hypocrisy, for they're supposed to be one thing, but what they really are is something completely different and, quite frankly, opposite of what they say they should be. He underlines this point by looking at like the inner state of the nation of Israel, right? By going into the temple and driving out the money changers, showing how they've taken what's supposed to be a house of worship, a place of God, and they've made it a den of robbers, people who were cheating others out of money, people who were there to offer praise and worship and sacrifice to God, and these people were cheating them out of their money. And so it really shows like the inner depravity where they're not who they're supposed to be. And so when they go back out, they see the tree has withered. And it's almost like God is saying, hey, when who you are doesn't match who you say you are, effectively you are like this withered tree, right? So he's calling out this hypocrisy. And so the question she asked, if we were to meet, would you fail to wither me? Or would I be withered? God, and it's not a matter of if, but when you see that I'm a renegade fiend, would you fail to wither me? Like, that's such a powerful question to ask. Like, I don't want to be withered, right? Like, and not even so much in terms of like legitimately being withered like a fig tree, but I don't want to be known that way. I don't want to be a hypocrite. Like, I don't want that to be what God sees when he looks at me, right? And so it's really important for us to be who we say we are. If we're going to name ourselves Christians, then we ought to live like we are Christians, right? We ought to live in all of the ramifications of being a Christ follower, and that includes letting him decide what's right and wrong, letting him dictate and drive where our life is going. It's so important. And I really love the way that Laura expresses this. It's done so well here. And so it's just, man, I love it. It's so good. And she does such a good job of drawing out this question and really taking this story, making it a song that is convicting and moving and just beautiful. But she ends it perfectly. She says, I'm out of place. I need mercy. I need grace. So will you fail to wither me? I love that ending. If we met in the dust of your feet, will you fail to wither me? Because I deserve your curse. I'm unjust. I'm adverse. I'm out of place. I need mercy. I need grace. And that is who I am, like at my core, right? I'm undeserving, but I need his mercy and I need his grace, and thank him all over the place, because he has wonderfully, kindly given me that mercy and grace, and he can do the same for you. So anyway, man, this was so good. I'm glad I took the time to really get into this and talk about it, and introduce you maybe to Laura McElroy's solo music. It's so good. Anyway, scale of 1 to 10, I'm not even gonna bother. It's a 10 out of 10 song, always will be. It's amazing, flawless. I love this track. So anyway, let me know what you thought about it on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being terrible, 10 being amazing. Where would you rank it? I'm curious to hear from you. I know it's different from what I normally do on the channel, but I'm interested, so let me know what you think. And if there are any songs you think I should be checking out, leave a comment, send me an email at lyrical.resonance.ia@gmail.com, or you can find me on Facebook by following the link in the description. Either way, what song should I be getting into? Let me know. And yeah, so good. Thank you I was going to say if, but I don't know why. Anyway, I talk sometimes. If you liked what you saw, I'd ask you, number one, I want to say thank you for watching the video. Really appreciate it. If you liked what you saw, I'd ask you just like the video, leave some comments, even if you're just saying hi or recommending a song. And if you really enjoyed this and kind of the breakdown of what it is, subscribe to the channel to check out more videos and to stay up to date with new videos, because where words fail, music does speak, and we're going to continue listening to what it has to say. So yeah, until the next song we dive into, though, as always, stay safe and be blessed. We'll see you soon.